And welcome to another edition of the Women of Wrestling podcast right here on ringbellsonline.com. I am, as usual, your host, Stu Allen, alongside my colleague and co-host, Lee Burton. And Lee, we're going to have to be honest with the people.
Yeah, I think this is, usually we try and sort of fudge it through and make it appear that the introduction is the first thing that we've recorded and it all just flows through. We're not even going to bother with that pretense today.
No, we're recording this introduction on Monday, the 21st of March, and it's for an interview that we carried out a few days ago. We carried it out on Friday, in fact. And the reason we had to carry out the interview on Friday is because as we speak, our guests are actually going to be in the air between here and the United States of America. We're talking, of course, about Saraya and Britani Knight.
This show, seriously, you have to listen to it. Try and listen to all of this in one go because you have to. I can't even explain why. Just do it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that, I think after we finished recording it on Friday, we were buzzing for a couple of hours afterwards going, wow.
And the rest.
So we hope that you guys enjoy listening to this interview as much as we enjoyed participating in it. But seriously, we always thought we would get the Knights on before they debuted in Shimmer, especially for our American listeners, so that they have some sort of idea as to who to expect this weekend at Shimmer. But, wow.
That's it, because I think a lot of Brits will know who Saraya and Britani are. But if you've been to a show with women's wrestling on it, chances are you've seen either Saraya or Britani do their thing. But if you're American or if you're anywhere outside of Europe pretty much, then it's quite unlikely that you've seen them wrestle unless it's on matches on YouTube.
Yeah, you may have even heard of them, but this is a great opportunity for them to basically tell you all about themselves. And the Saraya interview in particular, I mean, we had limited time with Britani. We had to go out, but we have quite an extensive interview with Saraya going through some of her wrestling war stories, of which there are many.
I think we barely scratched the surface as well.
Yeah. We could probably do another interview with Saraya down the line, and I certainly hope we will do. But before we get on to that, and we're going to not detain you too much here, but we're going to speak quickly just about a couple of things that we need to talk about. And first of all, yesterday was the debut of Pro Wrestling Sun. Now, obviously, we talked to Roxy Cotton last week about the upcoming show, and she and her partner, Sumi Sakai, they were successful in defending their World 1 Tag Team titles by beating Annie Social and Marty Bell. But that wasn't the really big story coming out of the show.
Yeah, the really big story of the show was that the main event, the proposed main event between Shimmer champion Madison Eagles and Sun champion Allison Danger did not happen.
No, absolutely not. Madison Eagles was otherwise engaged at a hospital, undisclosed reasons, but don't let that worry you. She has said she will be at Shimmer this weekend, so, as far as that's concerned, she will be there and fulfilling all of her bookings this weekend for Shimmer.
Yeah, it just so happened that, unfortunately, what happened with the hospital situation just badly coincided with Pro Wrestling Sun, and she had to make that decision.
Yeah. Other results on the show, Mercedes Martinez defeated Kelly Skater, and Mia Svensson won the Battle of the Mias.
Yeah, by DQ. Admittedly, but there will be a street fight coming out of it, apparently, because Mia Yim challenged Svensson for the next show.
Yes, and in the main event, Allison Danger defended the Pro Wrestling Sun Championship against Sarah Del Rey.
Unsuccessfully.
Indeed, we have got a new Pro Wrestling Sun champion. The Queen of Wrestling is now the Queen of Pro Wrestling Sun.
Yeah, I think that I think is one of those sort of matches that it was bound to be great. And I think as far as compensation goes for missing out on Shimmer Champ versus Sun Champ, I think Del Rey versus Danger more than makes up for it.
Yeah, it was a fair substitution. But as we say, Madison Eagles will be defending her title this weekend at Shimmer. We've got more news as well, and that is one of the matches, or the first match, has been announced for the Shimmer shows. And if you're a Shimmer fan, you'll know that announcing matches before the shows is not something that tends to happen because, Dave likes to usually keep things under his hat. Dave Prazak we're talking about here, until the day of the show. But this one was released earlier on today on Dave Lagana's I Want Wrestling podcast series for the Promote This. Dave was on alongside Allison Danger, and they announced that this weekend, on Saturday in fact, Ayumi Kurihara would go one-on-one with Ayako Hamada.
That is pant-wettingly awesome.
You said that this is about as excited as a man can be with his clothes on,
and the rest.
I'm pretty much highly anticipating this one as well. I can't imagine many other matches that I would actually want to see more than this.
Now you've done a big write-up about this. You put this on our website, ringbellsonline.com. It's the top story at the moment. It'll probably bump down to number 2 once we've uploaded the podcast, and it fills you in with just a bit of the history about how this match came about. There's also a footage of one of their matches from a few years ago. That is barely scratching the surface compared to what's probably going to be happening at Shimmer on Saturday.
You know, it's a really interesting thing, especially in Japanese wrestling. Anybody who watches Japanese wrestling will know that generation rivalries are always really interesting when the young generation can overcome the previous generation of Joshi stars and Pro-Wrestling stars. And that's exactly what we've got here. We've got the young talent Ayumi Kurihara, who has really matured over the last few years, just over 5 years in the business, and at the end of last year won the Neo Championship in Neo's final show. And she's basically now got to the point where she is this generation's big superstar. And Ayako Hamada represents the previous generation, and the question is, has Kurihara progressed to the point when she can now surpass Hamada and take Hamada's spot as the leader of the Joshi community?
Or has Hamada still got it in her to represent and be the sort of guiding light of what old guard seems a bit harsh, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But Hamada is still a very strong competitor, and you know, arguably is the number one wrestler in the world today. So you know, there's no doubt about the fact that this match is going to be special. If you have not got tickets yet for this weekend, this is going to be on Saturday at the Berwyn Eagles Club. Pick up your tickets now. General admission still available from shimmerwrestling.com.
Yeah, I think you have to be at the show. If you can get to this show, get there, because this match is going to be just fan-freaking-tastic.
Absolutely. We are moments away now from passing it over to, I guess, the time machine, and we will go back to Friday when you and I had an opportunity to carry out a jaw-dropping interview with Britani and Saraya Knight. Okay, and we are back on the Women of Wrestling podcast with the first part of our double show tonight. We're going to be interviewing the younger half of the Knight dynasty who'll be making their debut at Shimmer this weekend. We're here with Britani. Britani, how are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad at all, not bad. How excited are you?
I'm really, really excited. Like, first of all, I haven't been to America before, and the fact that it's going over for Shimmer as well. And that's one of the companies that I've always wanted to work for, apart from like the obvious two big companies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really ecstatic about it, to be honest.
So, I know that Stu's been really high on you about trying to get you into Shimmer, and I guess this is pretty much the first opportunity that you've been able to go over there, and you're going to be going as well. It must be great.
I know, it's amazing. I love it, especially being at such a young age as well. I don't know if any other girls have gone to Shimmer at such a young age, but especially from England as well. It's a privilege and an honour to go over there. So, yay.
How well do you know the sort of people that you're going to be working with then on the weekend? I know you'll have seen some of them from when they come over to the UK, but are you particularly well up to date with what's going on, or is it all going to be pretty much new to you?
Oh, it's going to be pretty much new. I mean, like, I do know the girls, and I know of the girls as well, and I know how obviously talented they are, but I don't know what's going on over at the minute, because I've been like really busy over here, so I haven't had a chance to catch up. But let's hope it all goes well when I get over there. Well,
you've basically been wrestling all over Europe, so it was only a matter of time until you did the US thing. I mean, talk about the places you've been in Europe so far, because you've pretty much done everywhere, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Hopefully I get to see more places though. Like, I'm always looking into broaden the horizons when it comes to wrestling. But I'm wanting to do like places, obviously like America, and I want to do places like Africa and stuff like that. I haven't experienced that yet, but
wow.
Yeah, there's still lots more places to do.
Last year was pretty much a big breakout year for you as far as getting a lot more of those international bookings and all are concerned. But I mean, let's go right back to the beginning. And the fact is, you're from a unique situation where you were born into a wrestling family. Pretty much everybody in your family wrestled. What was that like growing up? I mean,
well, to be honest, like growing up with it, I never liked it because like the fact is, when I was in school, everyone used to talk about it, and I used to get really bored of talking about it. And then, like, I saw my family wrestle like every single day, basically, and like it didn't really interest me. Well, I saw the injuries and stuff like that, and then the pain that they had to put themselves through to entertain people, and I was like, no, I don't want that for myself. I want to be a zoologist. But yeah, basically, like, me and my brother would go in the ring during training schools, and that's how I fell in love with the business, to be honest.
That was the question, because I thought, you know, was this something that you always wanted to do, or did you have another plan in mind? So zoology was your thing?
Yeah, zoology, or I want to be a vet. Like, you know, that's what every little girl wants, to be honest. I wanted to, like, since I was really, really young, I was like, I'm going to go to college, and then I'm going to go to university, and then I'm going to become a zoologist and stuff like that. But yeah, the wrestling kind of just takes over your life, doesn't it? So didn't get a chance to do any of that.
Well, when you're messing around, like you said, in the ring and during training sessions, what age are we talking about here?
Oh, like, since from a young age, like, me and my brother Zach, like, I don't know, I lost my mum. How old was I when I was just, like, pissing around in the ring, Zach? Yeah, so, well, basically, since I've been able to walk or whatever, I'd get in the ring and have a little mess around with Zach. But yeah, it just didn't take my interest. The only time it did take my interest was when I turned 13, obviously, and Dad needed another girl, so... Yeah.
By that point, then, had you sort of made the decision at that point, okay, actually, wrestling's in my blood, this is what I'm going to do?
I know. Yeah, definitely. As soon as you actually walk out of that curtain, that's when you know, like, whether you love it or you hate it. And as soon as I walked out, I loved it. You get this big adrenaline rush. I mean, it, like, not being funny, it did keep me off, like, the streets where all my friends were. Like, it stopped me from doing all this teenage, like, stuff. Like, they were all on drugs and stuff. But it kept me off that. It kept me off the streets. It kept me off getting pregnant early, you know, like, you know, wrestling kind of does save a young girl's life, so it's good.
13 would be, well, some people would say would be, that must be quite young to come out in front of a crowd and wrestle like that. But I guess it's a different situation for you because, you know, you had been involved in wrestling for 13 years up until that point.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was involved in it, but I was never like on the stage, you know, like out in the actual ring. I was always like part of the crowd and stuff like that, cheering my mum and dad on. But yeah, no, I was really, really, very, very nervous when it comes to my wrestling match. Like, at first I was like, I don't want to go out there, but you know, like, they gave me a good boot up the arse, and then I went out there. So,
what was your first match then at age 13?
I don't know. I remember getting knocked out a little bit.
That's why you can't remember it then.
Yeah, so I can't really. I remember my second match more than my first one. There was a lot of girls in the ring in my first one. It was like a 6-a-side tag match.
Right.
So like, yeah, I was obviously the youngest and the smallest, so I was just getting beaten up. But the second one, it was me and my brother Zach against my mum and my dad on a holiday camp, and it was like 400 or so people there on my second match. And I remember going to the top rope to do a move and then falling off and hanging upside down from the post. It wasn't, yeah, my first couple of matches were traumatic for me.
Well, that's a good question, I mean, actually, because, you know, obviously you're well regarded now, but and you've got the genetics to make a good wrestler, but we know that genetics doesn't always work as far as, you know, second generation wrestlers are concerned. But
hello, Eric Watts.
Yeah, how difficult was it for you to actually, you know, get into the whole thing? How easy did training come to you?
It didn't. Well, to be honest, it didn't come that easily to me. I mean, like, Zach and everyone was like a natural and stuff. I think it took me two or so years to get to grips with like my bumping and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it took me quite a long time. But yeah, I got used to it now, and now I'm just like a bump machine. So
you love it. What about Melody then? When did she come into the whole equation with the Norfolk Dolls? Because that was quite early on.
Well, basically, she started around the same time I did. Maybe before me, to be honest. She started a couple of months before I did. And, yeah, like, I didn't like her. When she first comes to training school, you know, it is alpha female, you know. Not like the wrestler, but you know what I mean. But, yeah, no, as soon as she walked in, I was like, what's she doing in my training school?
So you guys weren't friends before she started training?
No, we hated each other. We actually hated each other. And then we got talking, because then I started training, and, yeah, we got talking then. We had to obviously train together. We got to know each other. We started hanging out with each other outside of training. And then Dad was like, wow, you two will make the perfect tag team. And then, yeah, he put us together one day on a holiday camp call us the Norfolk Dolls after the California Dolls, and we just worked perfectly together. So. Not anymore, though.
In that situation, when like I said, you're both very young, and there are two of you like that, it must make it a little bit easier than being maybe just one of you out there being at a young age. And wrestling can be quite judgmental, and you can get maybe a bit of a complex about it, because you can start questioning yourself and questioning who you are and everything. Did it help that you had somebody else to sort of lean on as well, to make sure that you both kept on the right road?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like someone, like I said, someone my own age, and having to train with her and stuff like that. And we're into the same things. We like, we have the same interests. So like, yeah, it's good to have someone to lean on like that. And like you said, like the wrestling world can be very, very tough. It can, and I still get quite upset if I see like people saying really bad stuff about my wrestling ability. Like, and I'm like my biggest critic anyway, so it just makes things worse. But yeah, I find it a lot easier now I'm by myself, though. Now, like, you've kind of grown up into it. You've kind of matured into the wrestling business. So.
Yeah, matured at the age of 18.
Yeah.
Well, you are officially now an old grizzled veteran, despite your age, which is the weird thing about it.
I know, I'm so little. Everyone always really underestimates it as well. It's just like, oh, she's so young, she's pathetic.
Your two big sort of turning points in your career, the two sort of big changes in your career that sort of helped mold you into who you are today, as far as the in-ring stuff is concerned, is first of all, Melody decided to retire, so you ended up getting thrust into singles. I mean, first of all, how was that? How was adjusting to being a singles
When I got
wrestler?
thrusted into singles?
Yeah.
Oh god, it was really weird. Like when I found out she was quitting, because she done it by text, I had no clue.
That's nice.
Well, I didn't actually get the text until we were obviously booked for a show, and I rang her up going, we have to do a show. She's like, oh, I've quit. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know, but she was like, you didn't get my text then? I was like, no. But, when I had to do that show that night, it was really, really strange. I was really nervous. Like, I didn't know what to do, like, because at that point, I'd never been in a singles match before. Like I said, I was always in a tag team, so I'd always have a break where I can tag in and out, but now I'm just thrust into the singles match. It's kind of intimidating. But, I was really upset as well, because if I push a quit, I didn't think I'd be lasting very long in the wrestling business, because everyone knew us as, like, the Norfolk Dolls. So,
that's a fair point.
But no, it kind of worked out pretty well, to be honest.
In the long run, yeah.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
I mean, I think the other sort of big thing was then when you did your heel turn, and at that point, that was when I really started to see you flourish, not only as a wrestler but also as a character as well. Was that the final part, sort of making you into the wrestler that you are today?
Yeah, definitely. That's leaving all my Norfolk Doll, even though I'm still young, I know that, but it leaves my, like, my immature side behind, and now I'm, like, I feel more independent. I don't know, yeah, it does, it's a totally change of character, I know that, totally change of character, and I prefer being this character as well, because, like I said, I feel more independent and stuff like that, so...
I wouldn't necessarily say you've completely left at home your immature side, because you can still be a little bit immature in the ring.
Yeah, when I'm showing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't swear at people, so all they do is say, go brush your teeth or have a shower or something like that. Like, if I could swear at people, like, I'll be like Ozzy Osbourne. I wouldn't stop.
I mean, as a female wrestler, and female wrestling always has, it's always going to be a niche product in the whole wrestling sphere. There's going to be people who just don't like women's wrestling for whatever reason, just because it's women. As far as people out there, I mean, have you got much in the way of heckling as far as people, people you just don't want to see? And have you managed to convince people otherwise?
Well, yeah, to be honest, like, first of all, like, I'll tell you a story, actually. The other night, we were wrestling for this company called MBW, and basically this woman came up to us at the end. She was like, when they first announced there was going to be women's wrestling, I thought it was going to be fucking shit. That's what she said, and I was like, all right. And she was like, well, you girls, you went out there and you beat the crap out of each other. I love it. She was like, you completely converted me. Like, so yeah, it's nice to convert people to actually start liking British female wrestlers, but Yeah, no, you're never going to convince some people ever. They're just like, women, no, toilet break. Simple as, you can't change their mind. But it's nice to do.
When you say you like the woman came up to you and said, "Oh, but you beat the crap out of each other," is there almost this sort of understanding that that women kind of have to maybe go over the edge like that and hit each other harder just to be more credible?
Yeah, exactly. Like, at WWE anyway, we're trained to be just like the guys, maybe a little bit more, because like there's such a small women's scene at the minute, and most of the women out there, like everyone, like they just get bad names for themselves, don't they? Because but some of them are like really good. They are really good. It's just like, yeah, we do have to put in a little bit harder, because we do get judged a lot more than the guys do, obviously, being women and stuff. It's quite sexist, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unfair to a certain extent. But, I mean, here's the thing, though. You've pretty much got the plum position, because you get to wrestle your mum most nights, who is, has been for a long time the matriarch of women's wrestling in the country, and pretty much the hardest worker of the lot. So, how could you not at least learn to lay it in when you're fighting your mum?
Yeah, well, when it comes, people always say, like, I was in another country the other day, and they were saying, just because you're mother and daughter, you're gonna go light at each other and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, you haven't seen us together. So me and Mum, I think, are more competitive against each other than we are against other girls. So we literally hit each other harder than ever. It's horrible, really.
Well,
but she deserves it.
That's actually a great question, though, because, I mean, it's for certain people, and I mean even people here listening to this podcast, they probably still think it's a little bit weird about the idea of a mother and a daughter going in there and literally hitting each other really hard. How do you get that understanding or that belief between the two of you that okay, what we do out there, we're just going to go out and we're going to hurt each other, but we'll be fine afterwards? Yeah, no, we just say, right, we'll say sorry later, basically. Yeah, we are mother and daughter. Obviously, we get along like outside the ring, obviously, because we're family. But when it comes to inside the ring, it is a competitive business. So yeah, we go out there, hit each other as hard as we can, come back and go, yeah, sorry about that. But that's what the job's like. So I got trained to do that. Mum trained me to be like that. So
it's such a unique dynamic.
Yeah, basically, just say sorry later. That's what we just say.
It's kind of funny as well, because I mean I've seen you since you were one of the Norfolk Dolls, and I now see you to the point where you're a star in your own right, and to me it's like you're kind of becoming your mum to a certain extent.
Oh, don't say that.
And I mean that in the nicest possible way, because you've sort of taken over from her. You're in the process of taking over from her as being the new sort of face of British women's wrestling. Is that how you literally do wear your mum's boots nowadays? So how big are those boots to fill?
Oh God, yeah. Obviously, it's like really, really hard. I mean, she's been doing it for over 20 years, and then I've been doing it 6 years, and like to be honest, I got quite far in 6 years. But no, I wouldn't say that. She's still way ahead of me, so I still need to catch up to her, I think. She's still the face of British wrestling.
There you go. I'm pretty sure she'd say the same thing about you, though, so that's what's nice
We've
about
been biased now, really. Let's go, no, I'm better, she's shit. No, I'm joking.
It just sounds so weird to say, I've been wrestling for 6 years and you're 18 years old.
Yeah, well, I'm 6 years this year, when I turn 19. So it's really strange. Oh God.
As far as future aspirations are concerned, I mean, obviously we've got this weekend coming up with Shimmer, where you're going to get to meet a bunch of new people. You're going to presumably get to wrestle a bunch of new people as well, and make some new contacts.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's nice to have like new competition, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And meeting new girls as well. Like I'd love to keep working with them as well after this couple of weeks is finished and stuff. But yeah.
But I mean, what else has 2011 got in store for you? I mean, what are you hoping for this year as far as what you want to do? What next steps are there? We know that you've had contact with the big two over there. I mean, what's 2011 looking like as far as Britani Knight?
Well, hopefully. Hopefully. I mean, I've got all my European bookings still, so I'll get those done and stuff like that, because I still love doing it. I really love going over there and doing that sort of stuff. But hopefully, towards the end of the year, I'll be able to make the big move to America. But, fingers crossed. It might not happen. It may happen, but, I'm really hoping it does.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, now, Brittany, I know you got to disappear off soon, so what we'll do is, if you can, drop the phone off to your mum, and we will continue chatting to Sweet Saraya.
Okay.
And thank you very much. We will see you this weekend.
Yes, see you this weekend, my love.
She's talking to you there, not me. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yo.
All right,
hey.
Hello.
Okay, and we've now got on the phone the other part of the Knight dynasty, Sweet Saraya. Saraya, welcome to the show.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Not bad at all. Looking forward to this weekend, as I know you are as well.
To be honest, I am. I've got to be straight. I mean, I travel around a lot, and to me, it might sound glamorous, but you get on the plane, you go and do the job, you get on the plane, you come home.
Yeah.
But this one's different. This one is big time different, and it's probably the most excited I've been in going abroad since I started going abroad. I am 21 years in the job, and I'm buzzing.
Can I? I mean, I'm going to say something. I mean this with all due respect, but I mean, are you a little bit surprised that you finally got that chance? I mean, I know you always knew that Britney would get shots like this, but are you kind of pleasantly surprised that you're going to go over there as well?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of riding on the back of my daughter a little bit because she's like the hottest property at the moment, so I might be an add-on. But it doesn't matter how I'm getting over there, I'm getting over there.
No, absolutely, so, yeah, absolutely.
I turned it down 3 times because of money and the fact that, I could earn more over here, and it was a case of, I'm not leaving my family and blah, blah, blah. To be fair, I ain't got a clue what I'm going over for this time because I'm not interested. Because if I've got to get over to America on the back of my daughter, then I bloody well will.
No, it's obviously well deserved. I mean, you've been around the wrestling business for quite a while. The whole story. I mean, I know I've heard this story and I've written about this story in the past, but I would love to ask you when I've actually got you on the end of the line here in an interview situation. But you and Ricky, your husband, you guys met each other when you were a chef at Ponton's, when you were like 19, when he was travelling through for the wrestling camps.
Yeah, I was 18, he was 38.
There you go. How did that all work out?
Well, we ended up at this point here. It worked out really well, didn't it?
It worked out very well at the end. But I mean, as far as when you guys first got together, I mean, how was that taken by your respective families and?
Well, I wasn't speaking to mine, and in fact, I'm still not speaking to mine. So as far as I'm concerned, there was no problems my end. It was mainly Rick's end. The kids were fine. I mean, because there was Roy and Nikki.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely fine. I've always been close to Roy, and I've always been fairly close to Nikki. So, and it was mainly his friends. Opinionated people that look on the outside and not look on the inside. And we had a good 5 or 6 years of crap, basically. People trying to cause problems and say stuff, and we had the ex-missus in the wings that was being forever a bitch. So, in the beginning it was hard work, but we celebrate 21 years in April, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
It's a real case of true love prevails there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we only get one soulmate. I mean, you can fall in love many times, but you only get the perfect match once, and that's just as it goes. And there's people out there going, "Oh, I've been in love loads of times." Yeah, well, good luck to you, mate. You wear your heart on your sleeve. But when it comes to actual, real, true love with a soulmate, someone that understands you and is half of you and is complete opposite of you, that's when you know you got it. And I was pretty lucky I found mine at 18. Even though it drives me bleeding insane, low git. No, we're one half of the same coin. I'm the heads and his tails. So. Yeah.
So I mean, your first few years then with Ricky must have been a massive battle, not only just to win over his friends and so on, but also the fact that you followed him into the wrestling business pretty soon thereafter, and
it was straight away, yeah.
In the early 90s, I mean, what was there as far as women in the wrestling business?
To be fair, I'm not going to have a go at the girls because they kind of paved the way for me to come in.
Sure.
But you had like Tracy Kemp, obviously the gods, Klondike Kate, Buster Keegan, Nikki Monroe, Princess Paula. I mean, these are all name girls, the TV girls, and they went out there and they've done their stuff. But they've been trained, even though kind of some of the girls were trained by the blokes, they had a specific style. Female wrestling had, very much like the girls now on the WWE. You can see a huge difference between the male and the female kind of courses.
Sure.
And it was like that in those days, and I hated it. I wanted to have a scrap. I wanted to go in there and have a proper beefy fight.
Well, it was Rick and Jimmy Ocean that sort of did your main training, wasn't it? I mean,
they beat the shit out of me.
Well, was the idea at the time, were you basically saying to them, look, I don't want to learn to wrestle like the girls, I want to learn to wrestle like the guys?
No, I didn't get a choice in it. They decided that they didn't like it. Yeah, it was a case of, right, you're only like 9 stone dripping wet, and you've kind of got a boyish frame there, so, we need a little bit of flipping bottle about her. We need, because I was manager at that time, and I was having to fight my way out of halls every flipping day, because like the punters used to half kill me every night, so that's where I learned to fight, because I was fighting for my life every night of the week, which the Superflies found highly hilarious. While they stood in the ring, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. But as the training went, it was really tough, because I'd learned to fight as a manager. They wanted to install that sort of venom and ferocity in the ring as well, and adapt a new style for women. And I was kind of the guinea pig, and they beat it into me. To be fair, I mean, 4 years of getting the shit kicked out of you by 2 blokes that are like the top of the tree in tag wrestling. It's kind of an honour, but it's kind of an honour that really, really hurts.
That's true.
There's no other way to describe it. And I mean, you wake up the next morning, you can't move, you can't get out of bed, and you think, oh my God, I don't want to do this shit. As soon as you get in there as a manager, all the aches and pains go away, and you're raring to go, and you want blood.
I've heard people even nowadays, when they sort of talk about the fact that when they first saw you, it was as a member or as a manager of the Superflies, and people talking about the fact that you could basically almost start a riot outside the ring. Are there any sort of specific occasions that you can remember of things sort of getting either out of hand or almost out of hand?
Well, there's loads. I mean, I'm not very funny. One of these days I'll write a bleeding book. Because, obviously, the Superflies were, like, huge at the time, so they were working every night of the week. We used to beg Brian Dixon for a flipping night off because, we'd work 2 or 3 months every night, sometimes twice a day. And that's when I had the camp work. So I would say, oh, God, it's got to be Maidstone because that's where I got the biggest kicking in my life. I have never, ever had a kicking like that in all my years, even, going right back before wrestling. I got beaten up by a hall full of gypsies. And,
all right, hang on. Yeah, tell us the story.
Well, we kind of walked into the hall, and there was Skull Murphy, Fitz Finley, Danny Boy Collins, everyone in the back room. And Skull has turned to Rick, and he's told him aside, he's gone, don't put her out tonight, because I've heard that they're going to flipping give her a hiding. Mate, she does Kingsland, she does Hanley, she does Croydon, she does Bristol, she can handle herself, she's all right, And I mean, I'm sat in the corner, my pupper really going. I mean, I'm shitting myself because I'm listening in on this. So I've turned around to Rick and I've gone, what do you think, babe? And he went, nah, bollocks. He said, you've got to go out there. He said, they know you're here. You show any fear, you're never going to be able to work in this town again. So I've gone, right, okay, suck it up, Julian, get out there. I walked out there. They started flipping, spitting on me as I got to the ring. And I'm thinking, well, sod that, I don't care. Match starts, I get out the ring. They throw one of the guys to the rope. I grab hold of his hair, twit him with my shoe, and get a sidewinder that completely knocks me off my feet. But somehow I'm managing to stay on him. I actually black out, stood up. Okay. And I'm thinking, shit. And I've kind of looked up, and all I've seen is this crowd kind of coming towards me, and then I see a fist. And the crowd was so intense that they kept me up on my feet. And I was beaten. They broke my coccyx. They ripped my clothes off. I had deep scratch, bite marks, and I was in a bad way. I mean, my body was bleeding. I was covered from head to toe in blood, and I couldn't walk. I looked like the Elephant Woman. They punched me in the face, broke my nose, they dislocated my jaw. I actually looked like I'd been in a car crash. That's how bad I was. But I still managed to stay on my feet. But there was a funny side to this story, because even though I was getting a bleeding kicking, the Superflies would turn around and go, like, Rick turned around, or Jimmy turned around to it, and he went, cool, bloody hell, the crowd are alive tonight. What they didn't realise was the crowd was beating the shit out of me on the outside, and they thought that they were reacting to what they were doing in the ring. It wasn't until they turned round and see me disappearing in the throng, kind of coming up, arm coming up here and a leg coming up there, that they realised I was in serious trouble. So they started running along the side of the ring and booting these people in the faces. It was just a bloodbath. But then out of nowhere, I hear, don't worry, Saraya, I'm coming. And in comes Niall Mason with his brand new pair of specs on. He comes through the throng on his hands and knees, and he pops up beside me, and he's gone, are you all right? And I went, Mel, I'm going. I was going in and out of consciousness. And he went, don't worry, babes, I'm here. He tries to put me over his shoulder, gets a sidewinder, gets knocked out. Breaks his new bleeding glasses. So now we're both in trouble, we're both getting a kicking. And stop laughing, Stu, this is serious.
Sorry.
Well then, out of nowhere, the Soldier Boy, Steve Pringle, comes running down and puts me over his shoulder, puts Mel underneath his arm, and runs backstage with us. And I kind of remember Skull was kind of grabbed hold of me, and Danny has kind of put a towel over me, because obviously I've not got a lot on. And they've got alcohol pads, and the lads have put me on a table, and they're just kind of cleaning me up, because Rick and Jimmy were still out there, they were still fighting. So by the time Rick and Jimmy got back, I was in a real bad way. I was really, really in a bad way. And like the lads they proper looked after me. But to make matters worse, Rick's turned around and he's gone like, balls to this, we're off. So he's kind of obviously grabbed his wages, because he's not going to leave them. And so he's grabbed his wages. We've got in the car, and I can't sit down. I can't move because I've got a broken coccyx. And the gypsies are barricaded the gate. They've actually stood in front of it, and they've all got tools and shit in their hands. And Rick's gone, right, you don't need to buckle up, babe, because even if we flipping roll over, you're not going to get worse injuries than what you're getting. He said, just hold fast. And we ran at them in the car, smashed the fences clean off the thing, and ended up with no front of our car, kind of driving back to Norwich. But yeah, that was probably one of the worst occasions of my life. Either that or the car being started and they're forgetting me, and I'm running out the venue through the bathroom window, and the back door is open, and all you can see is my legs hanging out the back of the car and zigzagging out of the venue. So there's plenty of stories like that as well. And Jimmy flying through the windows with, I've gone to get the car, and we've had to try and escape from venues. But yeah, we've had good times.
Wrestling is not what it used to be, is it?
Oh God, thank God. But no, saying that, no. I do miss it. I do miss those days, because you always knew the adrenaline would be up, and it'd take you days to come down. It's not just a case of getting the buzz when the music starts, and, like once your adrenaline comes down about an hour later, it's a case of, right, okay, wait for the aches and pains to come and get home. In those days, you were buzzing 4 days because you were working every day, and it was just like, it's like being on adrenaline every day of your life. It's just, you just don't get a chance to calm down, you don't get a chance for your head to rest, but my God, I'd go back to those days in an instant.
Yeah, there's nothing so exhilarating as being moments from death.
Every day of your life, mate, being moments from death. It doesn't get monotonous, let's put it that way, because you never know what the next day's going to bring. I remember travelling down in the cars and saying to the lads, what's this hall like? They're all right, Jim. Yeah, they're fine, don't worry about it. And I'd go out there, and before I'd even get out there, I'd get a sidewinder from the side, flat on the arse. Oh, here we go, I hadn't even got to the ring. So, there was plenty of occasions where we had to have that. We've walked into venues and security have walked out. Got out working if they're on.
Wow.
And they've actually physically walked out. So, but give me those days. Give me those days. I'd have them back in an instant.
Part of the whole idea is why I wanted to get you on the show just before you did your Shimmer debuts, because there's going to be a lot of people, especially over in America, who maybe don't know you that well or have only heard of you by reputation. And I think what you've done now is you've both terrified and enthralled them at the same time. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. When you started wrestling then on a regular basis, or as regular as you would back in those days, and you said the people who were around at the time, were there any of them in particular that, you would sort of say kind of showed you the way or took you under their wing and basically tried to help you out, or was it pretty much you just stuck with Ricky and Jimmy?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Ricky and Jimmy, I was with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But of all the girls, I've got to be completely fair to her, and I know there's not a lot of people that you know, in those days that used to like her through different things, which I'm not going to go into. But Julie Starr,
Mm-hmm.
you know, she worked with me every night of the week, and she never moaned when I mean, we went down Norwich Corn Exchange, and I was throwing her out the ring, and she'd come back up, and she'd got another head on top of the head. You know, I smashed her face on the concrete, and she had another Julie Starr coming out the top of her forehead. And by the end of the match, she had two of them, a split lip and a scratch down the nose that looked like the Grand Canyon. But she never moaned, she never groaned, she just give it back and toughen me up. So, you know, I've got a lot of respect for that girl. She kind of showed me the way, but I also showed her the way, because I introduced a new style, and she incorporated it in the old style.
Right.
So, you know, I've really got a lot of respect for that girl, and I've got a lot of time for her. So, if she, you know, I'm in the process now trying to get her back. So we got Busty Keegan back, and we got my tag partner Nikki Bass back. Now I'm working on Julie Starr.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask you, actually, because there's a real blast from the past at one of the last training camps where Busty Keegan, who was wrestling back as, you know, she was before you, she was back in the 80s.
Mate, what an awesome worker. My God, can that girl work.
And she was helping train the girls on the last camp. I mean, I didn't actually get to see her at the show, was that, or anything like that, but, I mean, how is she now? What's up with Busty Keegan? Why is she even looking to come back?
Well, let's put it this way. We ended up talking on Facebook, well, she did with my husband, and it was a case of, so how's the wrestling going, Rick? Oh, it's brilliant, we do a training school, we get loads of people there. How about you come down and train the girls? They'd love your knowledge, girl. And, like, she kind of thought about it and went, all right, I'll kind of pop down and see. Within an hour, she had a wrestling gear on, trying to get in the ring. And now the buzz is back. She's been out the job 16 years, and now it's a case of, I want to get back. I want to get back into it. And it's a case of, thank God for that, you know, a good old school worker that knows how to bleed and work, that can shape some of the girls up in the job today. So, yeah, no, I'm really, really, really chuffed. I mean, she's definitely one of the people that I aspired. Some of her moves I actually took. You know, don't tell her that, though. But, yeah, you know, I think she's an awesome worker. The girls they're gonna definitely learn a lot from her.
That's actually a really good thing, because there's a lot of the girls these days, and you know better than anybody who are all, you know, very young girls, and it's difficult for them to get an opportunity to get a lot of information and a lot of knowledge from people of your generation, because a lot of them have already sort of since left the business. Well,
there's kind of, to be honest, it's always been me and Kate. I mean, we've kind of roughed the storms and stuff, and we've always been there. When all the other girls have deserted, I said it's always been me and Kate.
Yeah.
So, you know, we kept the wrestling going until the new girls come through. But I do stress, if you want to learn female wrestling and you want to learn it the right way, you've got to go to a reputable person to go and learn the job. Do not go by a fly-by-night that's been in the job 2 years and had about 4 matches, because you're not going to be taught the right way, and, you know, you're going to be shit. And you're going to go up against someone that does the job, and they're going to beat the crap out of you. So, you know, if you're going to learn the trade, go to someone reputable, whether it's Klondike, whether it's me. Well, you know, go to old school, because they know how the girls should do it. Don't go to this new school, because they ain't got a bleeding clue.
Yeah. It was actually something that one of our guests a couple of shows ago, Kat Power, said, Canadian wrestler. She was saying that, you know, if you want to learn to wrestle, go and find someone who's done what you want to do, because then at least you know that they can show you the way. There's no point in going to someone who's never achieved anything either.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been to some training schools where the first day, and they're you know, teaching them to do tombstones and pile drivers and shit off the top, and it's like, whoa.
Who does that?
Yeah, it's like, you know, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you know, for argument's sake, there's a lad that got seriously injured. His neck got bust, and, you know, he's in a real bad way. Bad teaching. You know, it's as simple as that. His grounding was bad. You know, and I know that one of our guys went in there to try and sort it out, but, you know, it's like you learn to drive, you're going to learn bad habits by the person that's teaching you to drive. And it's exactly the same with wrestling. If the person doesn't know their job and they've got bad habits, they're teaching you their bad habits. You know, and that poor lad now is paralysed because he got taught wrong in the very, very beginning.
Sure.
You know, and that's what you remember. So all the girls out there, get your asses into gear, even if you've got to travel. If you want to learn this job, go and learn it. But do not go to people that really are crap, because, you know, unless they can give you the work at the end of it, what's the point in going to them?
That's also true. That's also true.
It is true. I mean, I've got France wrapped up. We've got Norway, Italy, Switzerland for girls. We've got the whole of Europe. So if the girls come to me and I teach them to work, then once I feel that they're ready, I can give them work outside. I can send them to Europe. I can send them to Africa. I can send them anywhere I want to. You know, because my name carries a lot of steam in certain circles. So, you know, come to me and I'll give you work afterwards. Go to some no-hoper in the middle of the country, you're going to get nothing but a sore ass. So, you know, simple as.
Here's a question, though. Of the people who have come and gone in the business, and it seems that, you know, with the girls especially, there seems to be a lot of them who come in, try it for a few years, and then maybe, you know, decide, oh, actually, I really don't want to do this, and they go and do something else with their lives. Of the people who've come and gone in the time that you've been in the business, who do you miss most, or who do you think had the most potential that didn't reach their full potential?
That's really easy. There's two. There's Sheena Summers and Angel. We had Sheena Summers, who's my grandson's mother. Amazing wrestler. Absolutely, she is gorgeous. She knew her stuff, and she was tough. Oh my God, she was tough to work. But not in a, like she couldn't do the job, as in everything hurt. Every single thing I'd done with her hurt, and we'd done 13 days hardcore, and that bird levered me, and she took everything I gave her back, and she never once moaned, groaned, or anything. And then you had Angel, who again done the circuit with me. I beat the shit out of her, and I really did, because to me she was coming in the back door, because she was a friend of boys, of Zebra kids. So, you know, I thought, girls coming in the back door and blah, blah, blah. Irrelevant of whether my family brought them in. I thought it was a bit of a piss take, to be honest. And I levered her. And that girl levered me back, learned the job, and was brilliant. And I was gutted when the pair of them left. I was absolutely gutted. And I've not seen anybody else that's had the potential that those two had. They could have been anything they wanted to be in this job. Anything. Even the media wanted them. They're stunning girls, but they knew how to bloody work. And I'm gutted that they kind of quit. But you know,
well, you must hear like a lot of situations where where you hear that girls quit, and you must hear of certain reasons why, or potentially vague reasons why it's not for them. As far as the reasons are concerned, but why some girls quit when things might be going well for them, is there anything that sounds quite common that you sort of hear time and time again?
Pregnant. You've got to remember, a bloke can get a bird pregnant and still continue with his work. If a girl gets pregnant, she's got to stop what she's doing. And it's not just for the time of that she's carrying, but it's for the time afterwards as well. So a girl then has to decide whether she wants to be beaten the shit out of and risk not being able to look after her baby in the night time, or call it quits. You know, and most girls get to a certain age and decide that they'd rather have babies and picket fences and dogs and cars and, or you get other girls that shag around the business and get run out of the business. That's another one that's a constant thing. You know, the lads out and play with them, and they get more of a reputation for opening their legs than they do for working. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. That it happens. You know, there's girls that are around the business that have nothing to do with the wrestling for that purpose. You know, you don't have to go to the workers themselves. Pregnancy and relationship breakups are the two main areas, really.
So when you got these things, like you're saying, issues of the heart, or issues of the flesh, I suppose, because I'm assuming that a lot of the relations that go on aren't necessarily about love. But when you get situations like that, does that make it harder for credible, serious female wrestlers such as yourselves to be taken seriously? Oh God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. It besmirches anybody done it. I mean, I'm not being funny. The Muslims at the minute are bombing everybody, but in our case, every single Muslim is wrong. But it's not. It's a small majority that are being idiots that are actually causing the problems. But all of them are charged with the same brush, and that goes exactly the same in the wrestling business. Once a female wrestler spreads her legs and starts going around the circuit, then every female wrestler is treated in exactly the same way. You know, it doesn't matter if you've done it or you haven't done it. You get the name for doing it. So the girls either want to do the job or they want to go and do something in this sex flipping line, I don't know. But you can't do both. You either want to be taken seriously as a sports person, or you don't. And you've just got to
stop letting the bright lights within lure you into a corner that's really dark and you don't last long in it. You know, so a girl that shags her way to the top is at the top for 2 years. A girl that works her way to the top has got longevity and will be there always. That's just how it goes.
That's a great way of looking at it. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, but they don't last. They don't last at the top. They have their use. They work their way to the top, and then you're only a star for a star only lasts a certain time, but the people that make the stars last forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that's the way you got. You know, I know what I'd rather be. I'd rather be the person that goes out there and makes the stars, because I'm still here. 21 years down the line, I'm still here, and I'm still going on with girls that aren't probably in the same sort of category as me, but they've got a better look. They're a lot younger. They've got better bodies. They've got bigger boobs. They're not so gobby, trappy, and flipping, overpowering. And I'm there to make sure those girls use me as a stepping stone to get up there. And my daughter, I will be a stepping stone for my daughter, because I want her to reach the very, very top, because she's carrying our name.
Mm-hmm.
So I want Britani to use me as a stepping stone. And while she's hot, I'm going to hang on to her coattails, definitely. I'm going where she's going, and she's taking me.
It's not a problem. Here's a question now. One of the things that a lot of people who, even people who don't follow women's wrestling, or even people who haven't sort of even followed British wrestling particularly that closely, they might have still heard of the story about the injury that you suffered back in the summer of 2007. And I just wanted to talk about that, because I know it's something that people are going to be interested to sort of hear about from your side.
Oh, they just want to know what the reaction is going to be like when me and Melissa are in the same room when we go over to America.
Well, no, it's not even that, but I mean, it's just that the whole story of what happened, and the fact that, let's tell the story. I mean, you were wrestling Melissa in Chelmsford, and this is what, June 2007, I think.
Yeah, June the 17th.
Well, it's an important day in your life in that respect, yeah.
Well, do you know how I remember that? Because it was the end of the carp fishing or pike fishing season, and someone said to me, "That's weird for you to have on that day." And I go, "Well, why?" They go, "Because it was the end of the pike fishing season."
Of course.
Or something. So it's not because I remember it for the injury, because I remember the actual ambulance telling me that today was the end of this fishing season.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the most important thing that you had to be worried about at that time.
I don't know why
damn it, I forgot my rod.
I know.
But, you guys...
It's not the fact that my knee was hanging off, it was the fact that it was fishing season.
Yeah.
God, dude.
You guys were fighting, and I don't think you guys ever even got in the ring, but you'd fought outside on the cobbled streets of Chelmsford, and you'd been throwing bits of lighting rig at each other, and you'd eventually got to the point where you come into the hall, and you guys were fighting around the hall. And now the story at the time was that it was a coke can. I think it was actually an upturned bit of the chair, but either way, you got thrown through the chairs, and you basically had your kneecap severed off.
I have my kneecap is still somewhere at Colchester Arts Centre, because I've no to tell it anymore. They couldn't find it, and they didn't see the point of replacing it, so I have a wonky knee.
There's no doubt about it, and anybody even who didn't know you that well from the stories you've already told knows that you are tough as old boots in the nicest possible way. But I mean, that's got to be the most serious injury you've ever sustained. I mean, what?
Oh no, it's not.
Not even?
It's been one word. Yeah, no, I was blind.
What?
I got blinded, 6.5 weeks. I was completely blindfolded and didn't think I'd get my sight back.
Oh, dear God. Right, we'll talk about that in just 1 second. With regards to the knee injury, I mean, what can you remember of that whole thing? Is it just a blur, or can you remember everything vividly?
I can remember everything completely and utterly like it happened yesterday, but what you've also got to remember is I've got the footage.
Of course.
And I've watched it. So, whatever I've forgotten, I remembered as soon as I watched it. So, no, everything, every single last thing is very vivid. I even remember the passing out and coming back after passing out, and she's still attached to my head with my hair out, and I was actually unconscious at the time, No, I completely remember everything, and that's what made me think, sod this. I'm not waiting 18 months to learn to walk again. I'm going to be back in that ring, and I'm gunning for the bitch. So 6 months down the line, I'm in there, and I ended up doing a 15-minute bloody draw with Blue Nikita.
Yes.
So my first match back was a draw.
Yes.
So
just talk us through. I mean, when did you realise the injury was as bad as it was?
Immediately.
Immediately, you knew something really gone wrong immediately.
Yeah, it was as soon as it was Impact. I knew shit. I didn't get the pain straight away, but I knew from the knock that it was bad. And, you know, whether people want to hear this or not, I've got, on the DVD, you see me after the injury lifting my leg up, and I'm supporting the bottom half of my leg by the top half of my leg. And by the time I was carried out on a stretcher, I had lost all the movement in the bottom half of my leg. And it was worked on at the time by Melissa. And when it actually happened, I'd taken my kneecap off. By the time it had finished, I'd severed my patellar tendon.
Wow.
So, you know, make of that as you will, but I was supporting my own leg in the chairs, and by the time I got carried out, I couldn't walk. I couldn't support anything, couldn't even lift my leg. So the damage was done, not from the actual impact, but what went on between impact and being stretchered out.
Sure. I remember that whole thing vividly as well. I remember, you know, I remember your screams at the time, and I remember I was the other side of the ring, so I couldn't really see what was going on. And it was Dean Ayers actually who was on commentary, who, you know, he'd obviously gone over to see what's going on, and he looked over at me and he just did this look in his face like, this is not right. And I mean, when you went to hospital and you were told what happened, what was the initial prognosis? What did they say to you initially?
Well, I'll just take you back about 20 minutes. When I was in the ambulance, they'd given me no painkillers or anything, but I'd kind of got used to the pain because I've got a huge pain threshold. I mean, not that you'd have noticed, but no. I have a very high pain, and I can switch off pain. It sounds really silly, but I can do it in my head. And when I was in the ambulance, Dan Reed came up to me at the ambulance, and he's going, "Are you going to be all right?" I went, "Mate, a few stitches, fuck it, don't worry about it. I'll be back there tomorrow," because I was meant to wrestle Kong the next day, and I went, leave it, don't worry about it, I'll be there. I'll just get him to stitch it up, I'll be fine, don't worry about it. And I'd gone into like a delirium from, you know, like shutting everything off. And then I remember getting to the hospital, and them saying to me, "Are you in pain?" "Yes, I'm in pain." And they gave me a paracetamol. I was like, yeah, no, seriously, it's paracetamol. So I turned around and kind of started getting the ump. Well, when I get angry, I feel nothing. So I kind of got there at about 11:30, about 11 o'clock. I went straight outside, and you probably don't want to hear this either, but my mate didn't have any sort of painkillers, but she had a very herbal painkiller. Give me anything. So I ended up outside the hospital with my leg up, with my knee hanging off, waiting for the doctor to come out and get me, smoking.
Wow.
And I remember going into the room. This is the only bit that's kind of a bit blurry to me, because I've got no footage of this, but I remember getting stretchered in, and I said to him, "Right, I don't want none of that crap going in my knee. I don't want you to numb it. I just wanted to stitch it. I wanted to strap it, because I want to be able to work for it." And he's kind of cut my knee pads and everything off, and he's taken my boots off, and he's gone, "Lift your leg." And I've gone, "Damn, I can't do it." He's gone, "Go on, lift your leg, you can do it." And I'm trying, and then I burst into tears, because that's like, Jesus, I'm knackered. I don't know what to do. My wrestling career is over. I can't feel my legs. And he kind of, there was my mate Jane there, and there was also Dan Reed was there, and cheerleader Melissa was there, believe it or not.
Right.
And because she wouldn't leave my side, you know, for all the shit and everything, that girl, I can't knock her for this. She stayed with me actually in the venue, in the hospital. She came like later on, and she took some photographs on her mobile. You know, just say, look, you know, we'll take some. And I had to be held down by my friend while they put this stuff inside my knee, and had a look about. And he just said, "Look, it's bad news." And it's like, well, you know, how? Well, you've got no patella, and your patella tendon is severed. Well, I'm going to be dead realistic with you. You ain't going to be doing this job anymore. And that was it. The anger and everything that I felt, and it was just unreal. So he said, "Well, I'm not going to do anything more." He kind of put this tourniquet thing around the top of my leg, and he says, "We'll get you into emergency surgery straight away, and let's see if we can save the leg." So that was the last thing I remember, is being told that they were going to rush me in to see if they could actually save the bottom half of my leg, or whether it needed to be amputated. It was like, that was the last thing I remember.
Good Lord.
And it was like, oh my God. So
So
it was scary.
The surgeons must have done a truly outstanding job then, because I mean that combined with your desire to prove everybody wrong and come back meant that you were back in 6 months.
Well, they kind of took a bit of muscle away from the side of my leg and rebuilt the muscle and everything that I'd lost when the patella flew out. So they kind of took it. I mean, anyone that, if you look at me straight on and look just above my knee on my right hand side, you'll see that I've got a part of my leg isn't there. It looks really strange because the muscle was taken out. So they kind of used that to rebuild it, and they just said the rest is down to you. And I begged them because I was having to go to hospital in Colchester because they didn't trust the hospital in Norwich. So I was going because I was in hospital for 5 days, and I started kicking off that I wanted to come home because I was meant to stay there another 5 days, which I refused to. So they kind of let me come home, but I only on the condition that I went to Colchester every day to get treatment. So that's what I did. I went home and just commuted to Colchester every day for that. And I just said to them, please, let me do it at Norwich. Let's just do something. And they arranged that I have 3 days a week physio, 2 days a week hydrotherapy, and 4 days a week physio, 2 days a week hydrotherapy. So I was on a 6-day week turnaround with 1 day off. And they said whatever happens, they would help me get back in the ring. So I done that every day. And then, Rick taught, it was Rick me how to walk again, outside the house. We'd spent hours walking down outside the house. And I actually remember the first time I was able to lift my leg on my own. But that was actually quite funny because I was in the bath, because I used to do lots of stuff in the bath, lots of exercises. And I remember coming up onto the, now, you wouldn't believe that when you've got to take your own weight, you don't realise how much weight water takes from you.
Yeah.
And just going from underwater to out of water was like the gravity on that. The pool was just unbelievable. And I remember thinking to myself, right, I've got to get my leg out of the water. I've got to get it out. I've got to get it out. And it was like a mind of a mat thing. And I gently see my leg coming up. And I'm like lying on my back with my head just above water with my leg in the air. And I'm going, Rick. He's coming in. He went, oh, babe. Oh, that's awesome. And as he went to turn around, it was like, oh, shit. What's the matter? I can't get my leg down. So I could get it up, but I couldn't get it back down. That to me was the thing of, I can do this. I can definitely do this. And that was to me was the time where my head changed, the way the thought process in my head changed, and thought, right, I'm coming for you, bitch. You know, that was the time when I actually realised that getting back in the ring was credible.
And I mean, I was there for the 15-minute match with Blue Nikita. I mean, how terrified were you at the time, or were you absolutely sure at that point that everything was going to be fine? I know you were obviously in there with someone that you trusted, of course, though.
Oh no, I completely trust Nikita, but no, I was shit myself. I was absolutely terrified. I mean, I'd not jumped, I'd not ran, I'd not done anything that way. I just literally learned to walk. At that time, I had a knee brace, so it was touch and go. And I mean, fair play to her. She kind of grabbed my leg and stuck me in a single leg Boston on that leg.
Yeah.
So the girl was out to win. Even I did want her to kind of nurse me a little bit, but you can't expect people to nurse me when I kick the shit out of people, all my wrestling career. And Nikita gave me the respect that she thought I deserved. But I'll tell you, when I very first ran, my very first running to actually, to trust to run, was my match against Vesna in Austria, in Vienna.
Hang on, is that the show where there was only one ring rope and it was outdoors and there was a typhoon?
Yeah, it was two ring ropes, vinyl canvas, in the rain, and thunder and lightning. And that was the very first time I ran in the ring. That was it.
Of all places.
Yeah, what great timing.
Well, come on, Stu. Bloody hell, my time has been crap all my life, isn't it, really? But yeah, no, that was the first time. But I'm actually, because I've got everything on video, I can see, oh, that was the first time I jumped. That was the first time I ran. That was the first time I'd done that move. Oh, that was the last time I'd done that one. Because there's got a lot of my move fast and all I've had to forget about because I still can't bend the knee. I've only got 80% movement in the legs, so. But it's nice that I can catalogue accomplishments.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, You totally blew my mind earlier. You told me a story I had heard nothing about when you talked about getting blinded. I can't let you go on without telling this story.
Yeah, it was with Judy Starr. It was about, oh God, it's got to be 96, 97-ish, around that sort of time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were wrestling for Brian Dixon in Skegness. And I've sent him into the corner and gone running in, and she kind of done the surprise foot up.
Right.
But when she brought the foot up, I had my head down because I was coming in for a lunge, and it kind of connected. I could say bad timing, but it was very good timing because her boot connected with my eyeball, not the eye socket, the eyeball itself. And she pushed my eye back and cut the front of the eye completely like open. And but I didn't realise this at the time because I thought, oh, cool, that made me wince a bit, but it's okay. So I've carried on the match, and I remember like my eyes being, like streaming. I'm thinking like, shit, my eyes really starting to sting. I must be getting conjunctivitis. And I'm driving home, and I'm starting to lose vision.
Driving home?
Eye. Yeah, no, I drove home. But it was, I was starting to lose vision on my right side, and I'm thinking like, shit, everything was kind of going kind of tunnel. And it hurt every time I blinked. So that was on the Wednesday. Well, then on the Thursday, Roy, Zebra Kid, had a football presentation night. And he was only about 15, 16, 14, 15 at the time. And it was kind of a big deal. So I'm trying to get ready, and I'm trying to put makeup on. Well, I can't get makeup on my eye. It was so painful, and it's starting to swell, that I went there with one eye done and one eye not done. So looked a bit stupid. Well, by about 7:30, I started to come over all really queasy and just felt really sick and crap. So I turned around to Rick and I've gone, look, babe, I'm going to go home. I'm feeling like shit. My eye is really hurting. You stay here and I'll see you when you get back. So he's gone, all right then, gal. So I've gone home and I've laid down on the couch, and all of a sudden I got like someone was stabbing me in the eye with a blade, with a knife. And it felt as if they were going through my eye socket and coming out the back of my head. It was excruciating. Oh God, I'd go through the knee every day of the week rather than go through this injury again. I would never go through this again. It was that painful, and I couldn't switch off to it, which is something that I'm very proud of the fact I can do. And I remember Rick coming home at about 12 with his mate Chrissy, and they were both pissed. And kind of Rick's walked in, and I've kind of cuddled over, because I found if I put pressure on the eye, it didn't hurt as much. It was pulsing pain rather than stabbing pain.
Yeah. So
as I've looked across at him, I've opened the other eye, and I've seen the look on his face. Well, he's sobered up, and it's straight away. And it was like sort of F's and blinds and stuff, and it was like, you've got to get up the hospital, girl, your eye's falling out. And it was like, right, okay, so I've said to Chrissy, can you at least get in the car, because I've got no right side. I can't see. Can you be my right? Well, he was pissed, really. So he fell asleep in the flipping, on the way up to the hospital, and I'm driving with one eye. And I get up there, and they say, look, you've got some severe damage to your eyeball. We can't do anything here. You're going to have to come up to a different hospital tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, but you have to be there. All right, go up there the next day. Well, the eye is completely closed. It actually looked like, like when a rabbit has got myxomatosis.
Mm.
The eyeball looked like that. It was just out. It was like from one side of my face, from my ear to my nose, it was just one big pussy. Oh, ugh, it was gross. But they managed to open my eye with these splints. When they do operations, laser operations, they have their metal clips.
Yeah.
They kind of opened my eye with that, put some stuff in it, found out that my eye was severely cut, and that I had detached the muscle at the back, pushed my eye back. So what they've done, they kind of sorted out my eye, brought it forward, they reattached the muscle, and then they injected my tear ducts with antibiotics, so that every time my eye wept, I was getting antibiotics in my eye. Well, the next day, because I was having to go up there every day, the next day I went up there, and I got a front of eye infection and a rear eye infection, and the muscle that they'd attached had come undone again. And the eye was in a bad way, and they just said, look, I think you're going to lose your sight in it. So I'm thinking, like, oh, shit. Well, I'm knackered this time.
Mm.
but the pain was still excruciating, so they kind of morphined me up. Next morning, I've kind of woken up at 6 in the morning, screaming, and I'm trying to open my eyes, and I can't open either eye, and I'm in a right panic. So Rick kind of woken up at the start, and he looked across, and I could hear him go, "Oh, fuck." And it was just so, I mean, whether you delete that out or not, the way that he said it was enough to put the fear of God inside me, because it was different to anything else. And he's kind of put his arms around me, and I'm screaming in pain. And he's kind of got me in the car, taken me back up to the eye clinic, and obviously I can't see a thing. But what had happened is during the night, I'd rubbed my other eye, an eyelash had come off, gone and cut the front of my eye, and a tear had come from my infected eye into my good eye and gone straight behind the eye and given me a back of eye infection and a front of eye infection.
Oh, God.
So I know, mate. Talk about bad bleeding luck. So now I look like a rabbit with myxomatosis. I had no nose. I had no forehead. I had no eyes. I was just this big purple mass with a mouth. And even that, I mean, well, I don't think anything would ever shut me up, but from the top of my lip to the top of my head, and then from ear to ear, I was a big purple and green dunky mass. Having to go up to the hospital every single day for treatment. Zach and Saraya at the time were about 4 and 5 or 3 and 4 years old. They, because Rick was having to work every day, Saraya would guide me to the toilet, and Zach would guide me to cook for them. So Zach and Saraya, at 4 and 5 year old, looked after me completely. Saraya helped me dress. Zach would take me along, would hold the other. Well, I'm getting all emotional here. And they'd walk me to the shop, tell me the stuff I needed to buy. The kids would pay for it. We'd go home. They would help me. They'd tell me what needed to be done. And, like if I made a cup of tea, they'd say, like, stop, mum, or yes, mum, or anyone that I needed to ring. So I used to get them on the phone. You've got to remember, these are 4 and 5 year old kids. And I am completely and utterly blind. And I looked like the Elephant Woman. It didn't even freak them out. They were absolutely brilliant. And it enabled Rick to get out to work. And my other daughter, Nikki, used to come round every day and get in a taxi and take me up to the hospital to get the antibiotics put into my eyes, into my tear ducts, to then bring me back. Then obviously she had to go home because she had kids. And Zach and Saraya would look after me again. So I completely owe them 2 children the biggest debt of gratitude, because they even put my eye drops in. Saraya would hold my eye open and Zach would put my eye drops in. Can you imagine any other 4 and 5 year old children doing that?
No, quite frankly.
No, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But, they did. They did. Zach bathed my eyes in milk. Saraya would put the eye drops in. They would, be by my side, and they try and put VH1 for me to guess the year, to try and see if I could guess the year, to try and take my mind off the pain, because it was continual, 24/7, extreme pain. I would definitely go through every single injury I've ever had in my life in one day, then go through that again.
How long was that? How long were you blind?
I was actually completely blind for 6.5 weeks, and my sight was fully regained within 7.
Wow.
So, but they said that I wouldn't see again. That was it.
You basically
no chance.
You basically made a life out of just proving people wrong, haven't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, but to be honest, the biggest thing in my whole life that I remember for, like everyone gets like a epiphany. I think it's the word that they use, where you have an experience that is so big and so crazy that it's imprinted in you.
Yeah.
And I remember I was crying. Obviously, I was in a lot of pain, but the swelling was going down in my eyes. And so much so that I could put a pair of glasses on to stop people staring at me. And I remember Rick saying, "Come on, babe, let's go for a drive out. We'll go the back street to Yarmouth. We'll go on the back roads, out in the country." He said, "It's a really, really hot day." He said, "Let's just get you some air." And I remember, like, going over the bumps and things, and the swerves, and I was feeling really car sick. And, like, it's like a seasickness. And I've gone, "Rick, you've got to stop the car, And all of a sudden, I had this, like, pop-in, as if my eyeballs had burst in both eyes. And I've kind of opened them, and I've seen, do you know that the sky is actually purple and not blue? And that the trees are the most vivid green you could ever wish to imagine, and that the sun is brilliant white rather than yellow. And the only time you realise that is when you've had your eyesight taken away.
Yeah. Wow.
It was, I remember standing there with the sun on my face and just looking up to the sky and thinking, oh, that's a crazy sort of purpley blue. And then it hit me, oh my God, I can see. And I've looked at Rick, and I've looked at the car, and I've touched the trees, and I've, and that's like, I've gone, Rick, I can see. I can see. And we had a good old cry, and we rushed straight back to the hospital, and they said that, basically they don't know what happened, but both eyes rectified themselves at the same time, and within 4 days I had 50-50 vision.
Wow.
We should bottle whatever heals you.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I'd rather not have this healing element inside me, because I think I'm coming to the end of it now. I think I've used the bottle out, because I've had too many injuries and too many horrific injuries to come back from and keep proving people wrong, that I'm now at the stage where please I don't want another injury. I just do not want another injury.
No.
I don't think my brain nor my body nor my willpower could take another big one. Odd ones I don't mind, but another big one, and I think that would be me finished, because I just couldn't put myself through any more. It's bad enough I've got to sit there now and watch Zack and Saraya's injuries unfold through their wrestling career without, having to sit there and not be able to look after them or wrestle because I've injured myself again. But no, I didn't know about that one, Steve.
Wow. No, I never knew that. That's an amazing story. Let's bring it right up to date then. And apart from obviously the stuff that you continue to do every week of your life, every day of your life with WAW, you also have got involved quite significantly with Pro Wrestling Eve as well. And I know that's something that you've got a lot of time for, and you can sort of see that it's a good place for the women to all get together and not only learn from each other but network and also learn from people like you as well. What's Pro Wrestling Eve mean to you going forward as a future thing for the girls?
Well, to be honest, I'm a bit jealous of it in a weird sort of way, and I'm not gonna lie to you, because I wanted what Pro Wrestling Eve have got in WAWW.
Sure.
I wanted that. And it was just so hard, because at the time the girls were all different areas of the country, and trying to get them all together under one roof, it was just horrendous. But then when Dan done the Eve, to me it was my dream, but in a different form.
Uh-huh.
So I said to Dan, I'm not here to take over. I'm not here as anything. I'm here as a worker. But if you need me for anything whatsoever, anything at all, I'm behind you 100%. I think that what you're doing is amazing. I think that Eve, for a showcase of European talent, is brilliant. I'm not silly enough not to know that America came through Eve.
Uh-huh.
It's opened doors for me, doors that I never thought that would open again after I turned it down so many times. I didn't think it would ever come back, it's all the girls that work for Eve. Well, no, I won't say all the girls that work for Eve. The majority of the girls, 99.9% of the girls that work for Eve, have got a lot of potential, and they're dedicated to it, and they believe in it as much as what myself and Dan Reed does. And I can't forget Emily either, is Dan's missus, because, obviously she is a huge part of it as well, a functioning part of it, and I just think it's brilliant. I think the whole idea, the setup, everything, the opportunities and everything that Eve are producing, I think is just absolutely brilliant. It really, really is. And I want people to want to come and work for Eve as a step up, rather than coming to work for a female fed because it's an all-female fed. I want them to look at Eve and think, oh my God, I've got a booking for Eve.
Something to aspire towards.
Yeah, because everyone aspires. Britani has kind of wanted to work for Shimmer for a long time. And, Shimmer seems to be the place to go for an all-female fed. It's the biggest one that I know about. I don't know anything bigger than Shimmer as for a female federation. And, I just think that through Eve, we've managed to get the opportunities for that. And that's something that I really do thank like Dan and Day 4. It's just, especially where Britney's concerned. You know, she wants to work for them for a long time, and now she's got an opportunity, and she's going to be something very big over there. It's somewhere to showcase her talents, and America as well. I mean, everything's now linking in, I think.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit just about the few people that you have worked with before on the Shimmer roster, but just before we leave Eve, who would you spotlight as people that, you know, people need to pay attention to in Eve? Is there anybody that sort of you think...
Well, you've got to remember that the WAW gym is 3/4 of the Eve talent.
Yeah, there is a lot, yeah.
So, to not seem biased, I think every single girl in there has got an opportunity to be great. It's just down to the pedal power that they put into it. And it's not just technique in the ring, it's attitude inside and outside of the ring. It's the whole shebang. And I think every girl in their own way has got something that they can bring to the table. So as much as I'd like to say, yeah, it's all my girls, that of course they're going to make it, you know, they've been taught by me.
Yeah.
That would be very pathetic of me to turn around and say that, because there's a lot of girls that I haven't trained that are talented. So I think across the board, everyone has got a chance. It's just down to them if they want to do it.
Sure.
See, that was sitting on the fence a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you managed to sit on the fence, but still give people something to aspire towards as well. So that's fine. I
don't agree with all the styles. I've got to be straight. I don't agree with all the styles that are in there.
Right.
But it's nothing to do with me, and it's not what I feel works. It's what the public feel works, and you know, who am I to judge?
Sure.
So.
Okay. Well, let's finish up then with a quick chat about Shimmer coming up then, and you've actually, you know at least some of these girls. You've worked with some of them as well. Alison Danger's going to be there. I know.
I know. I can't wait to see her.
I know you love Danger.
Oh, me and her are really, really good mates. I love her. I think she is just. I mean, she came and stayed with me for a little while, and we got ever so close. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Alison.
Apart from that, there's some of the other girls who were in that original chick fight back in Yarmouth. You'll have Daisy Hayes and Mischief will be there as well. You worked Sassy Steffi last year a couple of times when she came over for her UK tour.
I really enjoyed working with her. I really did. And what I loved about her is that even though, you know, she's done Shimmer and she's been round and about, she wanted to learn. You know, she said, please just show me some British moves. I want to have a good foundation. So we've done a round thing for her just to kind of introduce her to that sort of style, and I taught her some really nice technical submissive sort of stuff that I know that she's using even now.
Yeah, no,
so,
I know that as well. And you made such a positive impression on her. She couldn't stop talking about how much she loved meeting you and everything about you. So, you know, that as well. Another person.
Lovely girl.
Another person, funnily enough, now who will be at the Shimmer show, and is somebody you worked a few years ago, and that's one of the Japanese girls, Misaki Ohata. You actually worked with her once in a.
Is she? Oh, she's going to be there. That's
she is?
That's Yoshida's trainee.
Yes. You worked with her in France.
Oh, what a talent.
You worked with her in France back in like 2000.
I'd love to be able to work her again. She is. You can see that she was taught by the best.
Right, but here's the thing, though. I mean, you worked with her in 2008.
Yeah, I worked with her in Paris.
Yeah.
It was her and Yoshida. I worked with her with them.
Yeah, I mean, and she's progressed significantly the last 3 years as well. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, I know you as far as wrestling styles are concerned. If I was to ask you what your favorite sort of style of wrestling is concerned, you would almost certainly say submission wrestling. That's what you love. You love getting the moves and getting the exchanges and stuff like that. And that's exactly what she does now as well. I think she'd be a fantastic match for you these days.
I would love to work her because she's. When it comes to technical submission, which I think is the grounding of wrestling, I think all this crazy running, jumping, gymnastic stuff is not wrestling. It's a form of wrestling, but it's not wrestling. And I really respected Yoshida for grounding her pupils, so much so that they had a real in-depth knowledge of technical submission. Even though they've done the other style as well, their main grounding was the tech submission style. And I absolutely loved wrestling the pair of them, and Sumi Sakai. Yeah. I think she's another girl that I really rate very highly, and such a lovely girl. So if I get a chance, hopefully I'll have a chance of wrestling the Japanese girls. I mean, if I don't, I'll be a bit gutted, to be honest, because I learned of Yoshida and everyone over there, And to me, I might have been in the job a long time, but learning something new is mind-blowing to me. You know, I love it. So, you know, I'd love to get in the ring and just have a pull-about with them just to see if there's anything more that I can add to my arsenal. Obviously, because of the injuries that I've had, I've got to be a bit careful, but,
sure.
You know, I do rate them, and I rate them very, very highly, and you know that's my dream, is to work in Japan. And I kind of nearly got there at Gaia, but they closed down 2 weeks before I was due to fly out there for a 6-week tour, so I was kind of... Oh, yeah, no, I was gutted. That's probably the biggest devastation I think I've ever had in this job, is having my dream in the palm of my hand, having the tickets and everything, and then having the carpet swept underneath me. So that was probably my biggest biggest downer, more than the injuries, is having my dream taken away.
Well,
but, you know, it's there. Hopefully it's there again for me, and I know once I get to Japan that would be not my dream over, but that would be my ambition fulfilled, because the dream is wrestling, so my dream will never be over. But my ambition would be completely fulfilled, and that's something that I, really, really want to do. So you never know, do you? You just never know.
I think it's wonderful that you've been in the business 21 years and you've still got ambitions yet to be fulfilled, which is really, really good. And this Shimmer will be another of those ambitions. We look forward to obviously seeing you there. Just as any final thought, then, I mean, what else does 2011 have for you in store? Anything else you've got planned?
Oh, to be honest, I am run off my feet. I've got to be straight with you. The girls' scene has taken off in such a way that I'm now organising the European girls to go all the way around the world, and I'm taking bookings for them. And I took 2 lots of bookings today for 4 girls, so I've got 8 girls at the moment. I've got 4 out on Sunday, and then I've got 4 out in France. And then I've got another 4 out in France. The day after we come back from America, I've got another 4 out in France. So I'm actually kind of, it's nice because I'm kind of known now for being able to produce work for the females, and everybody in Europe and America at the moment is contacting me. Can you get us work? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I just think 2011 is not just a year for me personally to actually change direction a little bit and become a wrestler and booker and, organiser of the female scene. I think it's a huge year for female wrestling in general. It's just the girls, I can actually find work so much easier for the girls than I can for the boys, and I've not got enough girls on my books at the moment. I need as many girls as possible to come down to the school so I can see their style and kind of sort them out a little bit, so that I can get them out onto the circuit. I mean, you've got to remember, we've got Switzerland, Norway, Italy, Finland, Denmark, Spain, France, Nigeria, all these places that are coming to me to send girls across to them. And at the minute, I've got so much work, I've not got enough girls to fulfill the schedule. So, now's the year. If the girls want to break through and they want to kind of step up to the plate a little bit more, then my advice to them is get down to the Eve training camp, which is every 2 months. Get down there, let me look at you, let me sort you out, let me, put you in a pigeonhole so I can say, right, this girl does that style and that girl does that style. Kind of make their knowledge a little bit bigger so they can fulfill, different avenues as well, and just get them out there, because I've literally got so much work and so many people coming to me from different countries wanting the girls that I need to see the girls that are there so I can send them out there, and they're also carrying my name, so they've got to be at a certain standard. So if there's any girls that actually do listen to this, get your gear into me, acknowledge me, come down to the school and let me put you out there and show that the girls scene is just as good, if not better, than the boys scene. But they have to do the style that I teach. They have to do this no-holds-barred, full-on, fighting style, because the old style of female wrestling is gone, and it's my style now at the moment that is taken off. So if they're willing to come and they're willing to give it a go, then I can guarantee them whatever they want in 2011, because 2011 is definitely the year for the girls.
Well, that's a solicit for female wrestlers out there, but also for fans who might be listening to this and thinking, damn, I now want to see what this woman can do. Here's the two main ones that we've talked about. Shimmer is taking place Saturday and Sunday, Berwyn Eagles Club, just outside of Chicago. There's still general admission tickets for sale there. Also, the week after, it's April 8th and 9th, Pro Wrestling Eve. 8th is in Norwich, 9th is in Sudbury. Title tournament over the 2 days. Saraya's involved in that. Britani's involved in that. Tickets are still available at evewrestling.com.
To be honest, if anybody has thought about going and watching girls work, wrestle, and kind of come back a little bit disappointed because of all the flouncy kind of gymnastics, two-step style working, give it another shot. Give it another shot. Give it another chance. Because the girls now are kind of ultra-violent and... You know, I mean, some people might like that, some people might not like that, but the girls aren't like what you've ever seen before. The girls that come through us can really, really do their stuff. And I advise you, get Shimmer, get to Eve, just have a taste. If you don't like it, at least you can turn around and talk about it through knowledge, not through sitting there thinking it's a load of crap. You know, get down there and then give your opinion. But you can't give an opinion until you've seen it with your own eyes. And I can guarantee you, 1,000,000%, that you'll come back there talking and your attitude towards women wrestling will be changed. Because there's some decent girls out there with good looks, good styles, and they'll shock the hell out of you. I can guarantee it. So just get your ass down there and come and have a look. And all the girls are approachable as well. You know, even, I mean, we all make a point of coming out and meeting and greeting the crowd, and you can have photographs, and, you know, it's just a case of come and get to know us and see what we're like before you give an opinion.
Beautiful.
Fans in North America and in Europe, you've been told.
Yes, you have been told. Get your asses into gear and get down there. You will love it. You will
now you've been ordered.
Yeah, no, mate, you really don't want me to come round because I'll find out where every single person lives and knock on their door and make them buy a ticket. You've obviously not seen me sell raffle tickets.
I've seen you sell raffle tickets.
Like you selling raffle tickets.
I've seen you sell raffle tickets. I would not in a million years say no to you. But,
Nobody does, mate. Nobody does.
I'm more than happy to say that we will